So I've stripped everything away, and I've already done the timing, and it's not great light, but and I haven't really got this set up very well. Okay, so the needle is just visible, and you can see the hook passing the needle as it starts to come up. Now, the thing is it only catches when you turn it by hand. As soon as you do it fast, it drops. So the first thing I did was sort out the tip, the sharp piece. That bit, yeah, the hook. That was like a bit rounded and worn, and it had a kind of burr on it. And I watched a video of a guy, I'll try and share it, and you use your finger. Obviously you get it apart first. Let me just try something. Right. So he uses his finger, because you can't really see it, fingernail, and you can kind of pick all round the point of that hook with your fingernail, because you can actually feel better than you can see in a lot of cases with your fingers. It's quite amazing. So I did manage to sort the hook out, but that's not really what, because I can't really explain that, how to do that really well, but I'll put the other video in the share. So the thing I'm getting is that it's looking good now, but it's still dropping stitches. And so people say, you know, get the timing right, so it just as it comes up, the cotton can get a little bit slack as it's coming up, and it creates a little loop for the hook to catch. So in my case, the first thing is that, is it close enough to the needle? And it's really difficult to see if you hold a light behind it. So what I'm going to do is, I've got it lined up, and I'm just going to push the needle like that. And there you can see that there's quite a big gap. You can't really see it without, just by looking at it. Oh, I can't anyway. So there's a gap, which I think is a bit too much. So what I'm going to have to do is move the whole bobbin across a fraction, so it's really close. Of course, when you get thicker needles, it will touch the needle, you know, because it's so close. So if you set it up with a thickish needle, really like on top of the needle. The other thing is, the cutaway in the needle is quite far up on the back, the bit that's been scooped out of the needle. So there's obviously the groove at this front edge, which I've no idea really what it does. But there's the cutaway, and it's quite a long way up. It's not just above the eye, it's a bit further. Like where my nail is, that's about the middle of it, so it starts about there and it ends up here. So the hook should be up, or the needle should be down. So the next thing I've got to do, I think, is I'm going to because they give you these measurements to set by it, but you're not really knowing what you're doing, you're just going by numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the needle, slacken that off, and let the whole thing drop, yeah, a tiny bit. I might put my finger there and drop it so that I can see how far I've gone, or maybe put a mark, I don't know, might be some marks, but basically I'm going to slacken this and just pull it down, and so that the hook, see the hook's only about you got the thread there, you got the hook, and the hook is really just above the eye of the needle. It's too close to the eye of the needle. It needs to be another about at least 1 millimetre or maybe 2 further up, so it catches the scoop out bit, which is just up there somewhere. So what I'm going to try is I'm going to leave it in that position, drop the needle down so it's a little bit lower as it passes, and that's how I get the length of the needle, because that's got to pass right through the middle of the scoop. So that's that. I haven't done it yet, I'm going to try. And the other thing is I'm going to slacken the screws off from underneath. There somewhere, where you can slide the whole thing over. And also that sets the timing, so I'm going to, without changing the timing, I'm just going to try and move it towards the needle so it really clips close to the needle. So then when it goes fast, it will catch. So I've tried everything else, and see how it goes. Cheers.